What is up, my D.D.D fam? It's your boy Drip, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Swordsoul, and how moving forward, how I feel about the deck, potentially in the next format, if everything banlist wise, like what I hypothesized or whatever comes true, or something along those lines. I don't really see something potentially coming off the list to just make this deck unplayable. So I'm going to be talking about this whole video, talking about what I think about Swordsoul, why I think it's going to be a very top contender, definitely in the rogue category. Maybe because like you won't probably see a lot of it because people want to play the newer stuff and stuff like that. But I really do think that this deck can go toe to toe with any deck moving forward. Definitely the new stuff because it has the room to play a bunch of non-engine, while at the same time being able to break boards with engine. So this is going to be an overview of a profile. On top of that, if you saw in the Discord chat or you saw me on Twitter or YouTube, I talked about how I finally added in a spice card that I've been wanting to play for a long time, not a long time, but since like Photon Hypernova. And since I saw the card, I knew it could easily be implemented into Swordsoul. I just didn't know what I would want to take out for it, and I decided to try it. I know it's kind of silly because I just I just uploaded a profile and then next thing you know I moved something around. But like I said before in the comment section of that video, that the deck is going to probably slowly evolve as time moves on. If I find something, so there's a potential I'll always be uploading videos as the deck progresses, like kind of like a little miniature progression series, even though the deck's not really a progression series because the deck is already like it's already like filled out and has standard stuff. So, but I wanted to show you guys and talk about the tech card itself and the deck itself moving forward. So it's not really, this is going to be a kind of a fast overview of a profile, but at the same time, it's just going to be mainly a discussion video. So it's not really a profile or anything like that, even though you will get the profile. So to overview the profile and stuff, it's standard 3 Moe, 3 long, 2 tie, 3 Ecclesia. Still, I'm not changing that. By the way, shout outs to you if you are an OG of the channel and you remember this Uchiha playmat instead of my other one. My other one's dirty, so I have to clean it. That's why we're using this one. My kids freaking spilt crap on it. But shout outs to you if you're that much of an OG. I love you. This is where it changes. Yeah, Tanny lineup. This is where it changes. Now the spice card. The spice card is Chaos Mirage Dragon. This card came out in Photon Hypernova, and I've been wanting to try to find a way to implement it into this deck, and it actually gels very freaking well. Like when I was playtesting with it all day before locals and online and stuff, like this card single-handedly, like it just feels like it was made for this deck. Like I was afraid that the lock and stuff would matter, but it actually doesn't, because if you play the deck right and stuff, you just make all your non-light and darks before if you use that effect of this, but you don't get locked unless you use the Reborn effect. If you don't know what the card does, I'll read it to you. It says you can target one of your banished light or dark monsters, special summon to your field, but negate its effects. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for light or dark synchro monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard synchro material, you can target one of your cards your opponent controls. Oh, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. I can't read. What is reading? It says you can only summon light or dark synchro monsters from the extra deck. This card is sent to the graveyard synchro material. You can target cards up to your opponent controls up to the number of monsters other monsters use a synchro summon and banish them. So basically, you can't use himself, but if you use him and another one to make a synchro monster, you can banish one. So basically, this turns your Boxia into like 3 basically instead of just 2, because you can banish one off of this. If you make Boxia with this, so you just like say you use this in like your Mopra to make Boxia, then you get to spin 2 and banish 1. So it's really nutty in that regard. Another thing that's really nice too is I play a special card in the extra deck, which you'll see when we get there, that this card unlocks for this format, and it's really freaking nutty. It's really freaking nutty because I was sitting there thinking about like, because to a degree, my buddy kind of runs somewhat of the same combo in his dogmatic or ritual deck, but not with this card obviously, but the card that I run in the extra deck, and then I kind of put two and two together as well. So I was like, huh, that's a card because we can hard make that in this deck, and then sure enough, after I thought about it, I put two and two together and it worked out. But you'll see when we get there. But this card also, when dragons come back in the format, what I mean by that is when we start running bestials again, this card just gets even better. Even better. What is English? I don't speak it. But this card gets even better when dragons come back in the format. The reason why I say that is because when bestials come back in the format and we can run bestials again in this deck to where it doesn't hurt, we can run Destrudo, and then Destrudo obviously makes as a free tuner. The reason why I say that is because this card single-handedly as a normal summon in the mid game becomes a one card psychic and Punisher, which is really nasty because you just mid game you can, because what a lot of people don't know is you can search this off of emergence if you control a synchro card. Synchro monster, because this is a worm. So if you just normal summon this, target like a Taie or a Vashuda in your banish pile, summon it, and then synchro for Punisher. The only reason I say dragons need to come in the back in the format is so you can search the Destrudo because it's a dragon, and I don't like Punisher in this deck without Destrudo because you're constantly burning your opponent with Long Young anyways. So they're always usually probably going to have less life points than you. So that's the only reason why I don't run it, because then you don't. Then at that point, Psychic and Punisher is not really a good card because they're always going to have less life points than you, and then they can just easily out it. So it's just a waste of a synchro monster, in my personal opinion. But this card's really good. You can run this with Chaos Angel or the Spice card that I'm running in the extra deck or anything. I don't run Chaos Angel because one, I don't have $45 for the damn card. Two, I want to be able to utilize its light and dark effect, not just its light effects. But it's not really as much of a reason because I feel like why would I want to pay all that money when I can't utilize the full effect and everything that card provides? I have something in my deck that can basically give me the same stuff, if that makes sense. The same resources, if that makes sense. This card is absolutely nasty because like what I like to do with this card when I play with this card is I like to foolish shit off of Taie, and then you use Boxia to summon this back, and then synchro again. What a lot of people don't know too, if you're still new to this card single-handedly makes your circles better. Because the reason why is because normally circles just to go in first card or to dodge targeting effects or evenly matched to be able to not completely go super neg against evenly matched, because you can just activate this, tribute a card if while you're chaining to the evenly match, get a search and search your follow up. But this single-handedly makes your Dragon Circle barrel go in second. The reason why is because Dragon Circle can search this. Yes, it negates its effects, but I don't care about its summon and back effects. This doesn't negate the effects for the whole turn, but you still get the graveyard effect when you synchro it off, which is the banish a card, which is really nice too. The reason why is because if you open like Circle with Ashina, then you're just gassed out because Ashina, you can like special Ashina link into Monk, tribute Monk or something else to first you would special summon use Ashina to special summon Mopra from deck, so you'll special summon Mopra or whatever, then you contribute the Monk to summon this, and then use these two to go into your Boxia. So off of Dragon Circle, just Dragon Circle being a utility card going second, it feels really freaking good and gives you it makes your cards better, and that's what this Mirage Dragon does. Because then you get to get rid of spot removal for 3, and it was all option came off of this. Plus, your circle is where your circle would normally be a dead card in your hand if your opponent didn't have no targeting effects when you're going second. So it's really nasty. I really like this card. So there's so many different ways to get to it, and it's like you implement it in the deck, and it just knows its role, what role it plays. It doesn't need to be doing too much, but it just does just enough. And it being a level 4 tuner is just insane because what's really nice is Obviously, I know if you go whatchamacallit, what is it called? I made it last night at locals, and where is it at? Yeah, if you go Chowfang, you can search this too. So if they out your Chowfang, normally I know a lot of people probably search Ecclesia, but if they out this, then you can just if they out there, then you can search this, and this will give you a one card. This becomes if they don't imperm this or something, then this one becomes a one card synchro, just like your other Swordsoul cards do. So that's another reason why it fits in the role so well. Because if you can't get to your tie or anything like that, or you banish one, you already burnt one, then this becomes like a not as good tie basically. If we had a level 4 tinny that was a dark or a light, then we'll be lit. We'll be gassed out. Sorry, the thing fell. Always. But no. Now we'll talk more about this as we go. Moving on, we got the blackout. I already showed you all that stuff. You already seen all this. This is just a refresher. 2 desires, hand traps, 6 ghost sisters. These are all just the generic ones for this format, and then draw. So this is the best format, the best hand traps in my personal opinion. A lot of you could argue to run Imperm over Valor, but if you don't know, if you haven't noticed already, if you didn't see the deck profile, I recommend going and watch it because I talk about other things in that video too. All these are tuners, and they all help you get into your 10s or your 8s. So that's why we run them. And then the draws. That's it for the main deck. Speed through to the extra deck. Again, because I want this to be a discussion video, not really anything else. Just a refresher. 2 Monk. Shaman. That's it for the links. Your 8s. You got 1. Sorry, my stuff's mixed up. 2. 2 Chowfang. 2 Boxia. And then this card was the MVP for me. It's like this card comes up so much. Definitely, if you can end on you can make double 8s. You can end on Chowfang and not Chowfang, but Shisha on this plus a 10. You're just lit. 7. We got Yazi. We got the Berserker 10s. Best 10s. Chowfang. And then the Spice card that I run is Lilith. No one else has been running Lilith yet that I've seen in their profiles. Now, we can hard make this in a lot of ways. But what a lot of people don't know is obviously if you read it, it says it needs a level 4 tuner, which is this. But mid to late game, you can set this combo up through Taie. Because let's say you burn through like a Boxia or something, and you banished a Boxia from graveyard, you can normal summon your Mirage, and then special summon the Boxia. It negates his effects though, and then you can sync for Lilith. Now you're probably asking, if you don't know, what does Lilith provide for us? Well, Lilith basically becomes a pseudo Shishao. If your opponent summons something from the extra deck, you can negate it. It's kind of like if you play Despia and you know how what's his name? The big level 3 Dramaturge, I believe his name is. Yeah. So whenever something from the extra deck, you can negate it. Then if they out this card, its graveyard effect during the end phase. You can special summon a spellcaster monster that has the same attack and defense stat. So what do we play that does that? Yeah, you can special Ecclesia, and Ecclesia will give you follow-up. So them outing this gives you follow-up. On top of that, even if you didn't want to get that and you just wanted a level 1, you can special summon Valor as well. So there's a lot of synergy with this, because this gives you an additional negate, and it buffs your stuff by 500, and it provides you follow-up. So it makes your deck more grindy than it actually already was. The deck was already able to grind anyways, but This card is just very good in this deck. If you couldn't already tell, I subbed out the Ice Jade for this, and I have not regretted it at all. Because before, like, yes, I get it. Like, Ice Jade is good, definitely against like not Swordsoul, but Kashtira. But I just find myself making Sinister or Baron over Ice Jade against Kashtira, because the Sinister against Kashtira, definitely after you break their board, is just catastrophic against them, because you just banish their first special summon and then you banish the birth when they activate it and they just lose. So I never found myself making the Ice Jade, but this opened up my extra deck to where I can make more, to where I could potentially like you never really can make this like going first or something like that. You mainly make it mid game, but it's really nice because you basically can use Boxia and this banish like 3 and then special summon this back or whatever, and then use this effect to summon back from banish pile, then sync again. You cleared 3, and now you have a negate, and if they find a way to out it, then you just get a free follow-up. So, like, this card is absolutely nasty, so shout out to my friend Tanner for letting me borrow it, because I don't have my own yet. I just found the little miniature combo with the Mirage yesterday at the time of recording this video, so I needed one on the fly, and your boy looked out for me, so. But that's updated on the profile. I guess I can show you the side. 2 anti-spell puts in work. Again, this is a dysfunctional profile because it's not really meant to be a profile. It's meant to be a discussion of the Mirage Dragon and the deck itself. Gravity Collapse. Fun fact, I've been on this card. I've been on Gravity Collapse before anybody else was, so just referencing that. If you see my profiles, then you know. Too evenly. Yeah, that's it for the entire deck. But now let's actually talk about a couple of reasons why I think this deck moving forward is going to be very good, and a very top tier contender. And what makes it even better, the fact that it's budget. One thing I will say is, like I said a second ago, I don't think nothing coming off the ban list is going to could severely like hurt this deck. So that's a plus. On top of that, this deck inherently does not play into Droll. All Droll does is really stop us from getting a bunch of follow up with a bunch of draws and stuff. So that's +1 right there, because this format I really think is going to be about Droll or Ogre or die, basically. And this deck inherently doesn't give a two shits about either one of those. That's fine. That makes it even better. So +2. On top of that, the blowout cards that really stop this deck, like the certain hand traps like Imperm and stuff like that, I really think are floating out of the format. Even though I do think Imperm is still a very good card, you'll still see it. I'm not denying that. But I think that it's going to take a back seat because it's not going to be the most impactful hand trap this format like the previously. So the most impactful ones are going to be Droll, Ogre, and Gamma and stuff like that. Which Gamma can kind of hurt us, but if you're lucky enough to open the Ash, you can stop the Gamma and then just not extend any further after that, or you can bait it out. So like the moral of the story, the high impact hand traps do not stop this deck, that are in this format do not stop this deck, and this deck can inherently play through and not matter, so they could push through it. On top of that, the other blowout cards like last format, like D Barrier and stuff like that, I really think moving forward is going to fall out of the format too, which they already have shown that they have, because no one's really running D Barrier. Monodium is not blowing up like it should have, mainly because it auto loses to Droll and it loses to Shifter. And a couple of decks in this format can main deck Shifter, and every deck in the format's main decking Droll. So the deck just auto loses to that. So that's why you don't see much Monodium yet. It's going to take some stuff to get out of Duelist Nexus potentially, and like the Crimson Dragon and stuff like that, and getting some stuff hit on the ban list for Monodium to really explode. So since Monodium is not like really in the format, there's no real reason to play D Barrier besides Branded, because I mean, yeah, you can argue Castira, but it's not really going to stop them because their main deck monsters are interruptions on their own, right? So, like, since D-Barrier is taking a back seat as well because you need other forms of like board breakers and hand traps to stop the high impact, high powerful decks. This it allows this deck to shine and not get blown out by those blowout cards. So you have like you could. So let's recap. You don't have D-Barrier to worry about that much unless you're locals or something like that. That's different. So you don't have D barrier. You don't care about Droll. You don't care about Ogre. You care, but you don't care about Gamma. So you play around all these impactful cards, and the deck is very consistent as is. And so it's the reason why I think this deck moving forward is going to be a very good option to play moving forward because this deck does not have really a bad matchup against any of the decks either. So like the hardest one would probably be Purely. Um, Other than that, you don't really care about any other deck. Like your super heavy can be tough at times if you don't see your proper non engine, but um I have replays. If you guys want to see them, just let me know down below. I have replays of breaking full power, super heavy boards with just using tinnies, basically. Tinnies in my Swordsoul cards. And what I mean by full power boards, I'm talking about ending on like Baron, uh, Saryuja with they had Baron Saryuja, a spell canceller, King Regulus, and like a Warlord Savage, and I cracked the entire board and was able to establish and win through that, which was absolutely insane. All it took was 10 E's and like one non-engine and plus my Sword Soul to get through that entire board and end on my own board. So that this deck can play through a lot, and it's very good at going first and going second. And I always tell people who are part of the D.D.D fam or the Discord or anything like that that you need to be able to utilize decks that have the ability to go first or second. This deck is good at doing either. So on top of like all the options, I mean, all the other things that I've mentioned previously in this video, like it plays around cards that are not in the format. This deck has good matchups against almost every deck, and it can go first and go second. And the last thing that makes it a very good option too is the fact that it's freaking budget. Yeah, the most expensive card in the entire deck is Lilith and Baron. Lilith, last I checked, was yesterday at the time of recording this video, was sitting at $28. Baron is sitting at like 55 or 60 or something like that. Other than that, the rest of your deck is probably 40 bucks, 40, 50 bucks. So, yeah, like it's somewhat silly not to run it, honestly. And they're like this deck, I feel like is only going to get better too. That's just my personal opinion. Like you can ask anybody if you're new to the game or something like that, or you're new to Sword Soul, even if you're new to Sword Soul, you know Sword Soul's like that deck that just never seems to die because for the most part, it's a fair deck. It's a deck that doesn't set up unbreakable boards, but it's a interactive board, which is initially what the game of Yu-Gi-Oh is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about setting up a full impressive board and your opponent can't play, or you negate everything. It's about the interaction, and Sword Soul feeds off the interaction. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but with all my decks, for the most part, there's probably a couple that don't, but most of my decks and deck profiles that I bring you guys are about decks that feed off of the interaction with the opponent. I don't know. It's just kind of the decks that I really like. I mean, my personal opinion, which if you know me, you know I love mid-range decks. Every once in a while, I'll dip my toe in, um, like combo, but very rarely do I dabble in like control besides Labyrinth. But yeah, Chaos Mirage Dragon is like a great addition. I know a lot of you all were really wanting me to run the Dingo Worm or whatever his name is, the level 2 dragon. I really like that card, and I really think it's very good. The main reason why I'm not running it, and it's somewhat because we don't have dragons in the format, so like Bestial can't search it, but that's fine. I know you don't need it. It's just the fact that it's not a worm for me right now, and it could get bricky. On top of that, it forces you to run certain extra deck cards that to like to accommodate its needs. And I know a lot of people have their opinions and stuff like that, but my personal opinion, this entire extra deck is not like there's not a single wiggle room card. The only wiggle room card was the Ice Jade, which obviously is now occupied by Lilith. And for this format and moving forward, unless something severely changes, there's nothing in this extra deck that it has the ability to move and be something else. A lot of people are probably going to be jumping in the comment section right now and be like, yo, Chow Fang is not needed. My personal opinion, it is. Because you're going to play against a light-based deck and you're just going to need it. Or you need to stop from Nib or something like that. Or search follow-up or something like that. So, like, it's every single card in here. I have summoned every single card in here in the past week or something or playing this deck. Every single card has put in work for me. A lot of people have been cutting Shaman, and that just breaks my heart like so much because Shaman is so good. The fact that people are cutting Shaman and not running Summit is insane because Summit, if you don't run Summit, you need Shaman. If you're not running Shaman, you need Summit. You need some form of Reborn. My personal opinion, and sometimes you just need a link too. Anyway, so Shaman helps you with that. So. No, the fact that you're not the fact that people are doing that is it just breaks my heart, and because it makes me feel like they're losing out on a lot of utility. But yeah, I love this extract the way it is. I'm not changing a thing about it. So that's that too. What else? Another reason that I really think this deck is very good is because in the format that we're in too, you have to have a lot of hand traps / board breakers to play. And it's slowly feeling like board breakers are needed this format, but it also feels like it's reverting from a full board breaker format to a hand trap heavy format. But at the same time, still needing board breakers. So it's kind of like the hybrid formats, but it's like a 60-40 split instead of a 50-50. 60 being hand 60 being hand traps and 40% being like board breakers, because like the only time you really need board breakers is against like maybe a deck like Purely or something like that, because their monster is unaffected when he has like 5 more materials. So like that's other than that, like hand traps, you need hand traps to stop that deck. You need hand traps to stop super heavy. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like enough because it's either droll or bust. So, and that being the case, since you need so much, this deck has the ability to, the sweet spot, my personal opinion, for this deck is 12 non-engine / hand traps. And there's not very many decks in the format or any decks at all that can actually main deck that much and still be consistent. So this deck is consistent while playing 12 hand traps / non-engine. On top of that, that makes it even more unfair. The reason why I think this deck is the best option is the non-engine / hand traps that are necessary for this format are combo pieces as well. Because like the Ash, the Ogres, plus a level 17 gets you into a 10. Ash, Ogre, plus your Mopra gets you into Yazi in your extra deck. Valor plus a level 17 gets you into your 8 synchros, your Shishells, your Dragite, your Boxia, your Draco Berserker. The list goes on. So like the fact you can utilize the full potential of all your non-engine besides Droll makes it to believe where you are running a 40 card deck and only running pseudo 3 bricks. Obviously, you can still brick by drawing multiple cards and not seeing an engine or anything like that. Yes, but only running a pseudo 3 bricks of a 40 card list while being very consistent and having Pot of Desires, which is Pot of Greed, just sounds unfair. Like I mentioned before in the other profile, that utilizing your hand traps as combo pieces just feels unfair, and there's not very many decks, if any deck, any other deck that can actually do that, unlike Swordsoul. So, and the deck, like I said before, so like let's do another recap real quick before we head out here. D-Barrier is not in the format, so the blowout cards are not in the format. You play around all the hand traps. The deck is budget. You can main deck 12 non-engine. Your non-engine is combo pieces, and the deck is very consistent. and the deck has a very good matchup against other the decks that are in the format. Even if Cashier doesn't fully die, this has a solid matchup against Cash. Trust me, I know when I played Cash, I got bodied by this deck a lot. So yeah, no, it's almost no brainer for me, and I'm like, I mean, I was happy when I was forced to leave Cashier, because I don't have pots, that I had this deck to come back to, because it's almost as if it was meant to be, because like how good I really think this deck is in this format, in moving forward. But with that being said, guys, if I can't really think of anything else, if I find anything else, I'm sure I'll mention it in the next video or comment section down below. But right now, this is what I'm rocking with. I'm telling you, man, get you just try the Mirage Dragon. My personal opinion in this format, it's better than the Dingo Worm or the level 2 Dragon. I understand a lot of people like the Dingo Dragon or whatever his name is, the Dingo Worm, because just Apple Dragon. I'm just gonna call it Apple Dragon. Call it Apple Dragon, because it's new. It's a new card, and it feels like when you drink that crispy Sprite from from McDonald's. It just hits your soul right, because it literally Sword Soul hits your Sword Soul right, because it feels like it refreshes the deck and gives the deck more life. And I get that. I understand. When you get new support and stuff like that, but I really think you can get away with just Mirage Dragon and get the same feeling from this. Obviously, you don't want to force nothing, just going into this blindly just to be able to use it. But I think right now this is a better option than Apple Dragon. But I do like the Apple Dragon and what it brings. But like I said before, it has to do with the extra deck, is why I don't run it yet. But yeah. I'm telling you guys, if you're just watching this video and you didn't see my other profile and you want to hear from that, go watch it. Really, and if you haven't picked up this deck yet, just pick it up. Even if you don't plan on running it like full time, it's still a good deck to have, and it's a very fun deck. And yeah, I highly recommend it, obviously. But with that being said, guys, I love you guys so much. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Like 80% of you guys are not subscribed, but are returning members. That's really hurtful. I really want to get to 2K, and I can only do that with the love and support from you guys. So please hit that subscribe button. Please, please, please. Check the description for all the ways to support me. Patreon, Discord, Twitter, TikTok, and the merch store is down there as well. Get you some D.D.D merch. And yeah, I love you guys so much. It's your boy Brandon, aka Drip, signing out. Till next time. Peace. Good doing, my guys.